Hello, my dear friends. This is a presentation video of mine for you about the whistleblowers for the course MBA 541. And we're going to talk about the whistleblowers and Sarbanes-Oxley Act a little bit, and then we're going to have a non-scientific experiment. So to begin with, the term whistleblower is coming from a referee or a policeman that blows his whistle when he or she sees something faulty or wrong that's going on. So the term whistleblowers is used in a business world for the people who see things that violates the law or standards, and they go to the authorities or to the government or to a court and report the company that they work for. And often those people are described as integral people who are loyal and devoted to their work. And the reason they blow the whistle is actually that the organizational culture perception of those people does not comply with what their executives or their accounting department is doing. And when we are talking about fraud, you shouldn't only think about accounting fraud. There can be other types of drugs that have side effects that have been confined by the producer of those drugs, or WikiLeaks, Julian Assange. I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with those events that took place a couple of years ago. So it's a broad subject. So the whistleblowers can be anytime, anywhere, and it's not a new thing. It's actually the whistleblowing professionals are around until since 1960s. So after Enron, Tyco, and WorldCom scandals that took place in the United States, the United States government passed an act named Sarbanes-Oxley Act. As you all know what it is, and it kind of tries to standardize the accounting and financial reports and tries to increase the transparency in companies, and it consists of 11 titles. It's a really long act, and if you're interested, I strongly recommend you to go Google it and read it. And I will briefly talk to you about the 11 titles. It's consisting of 11 titles. I'll briefly talk about what they mean, in my opinion. So the first title is Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, which enforces independent auditors to comply with specific mandates of that act. So it kind of tries to standardize the auditing and financial reports. And second one is auditor independence. It limits the relationship between the auditor and the client, which means that if a company is auditing another company, they cannot have any other relationships such as consulting and other stuff, so that the auditor company can remain objective. So the third one is corporate responsibility, which was mentioned by our professor in the last class, which is the senior executives are taking individual responsibility for accuracy and completeness of the financial reports. So fourth one is enhanced financial disclosure, which requires higher level of detail in reported transactions. Fifth one is analyst control of interest, which is kind of a code of conduct for securities analysts. A sixth one is commission, resources, and authority, which gives authority to SEC to ban security professionals from practicing, such as Arthur Andersen. Seventh one is studies and reports, which gives authority to SEC to conduct studies on financial reports and perform enforcements if necessary. And it also tries to prevent banks or other financial agents to assist the company falsifying their financial statements. And eighth one is corporate and criminal fraud accountability, which defines the criminal penalties for fraud and protection, and which defines the criminal penalties for fraud and gives protection to whistleblowers. And ninth one is the white collar crime penalty enhancement, which tries to prevent white collar fraud and conspiracy and gives them penalties which are already existing, but it kind of enhances it. And number 10 is corporate tax return, which is CEO must sign the corporate tax return, which kind of eliminates some sort of falsified tax return. So if something is wrong, CEO will be responsible for that. And number 11, which is the last one, is corporate fraud accountability, identifies criminal offenses, penalties, sentencing guidelines, and give SEC authority to freeze transactions of a specific company if a fraud is present. So after that act passed, people expected that whistleblowers will be protected, and there are some other scandals came up after that. But the fact is that the act didn't really protect the whistleblowers. So, I mean, there were people who sued some companies and won, and there were people who sued companies and lost. The reason for that is that act, if you're gonna report a company, you need to face with a lot of hurdles. That's called the legal hurdles. There are a lot of requirements for a company to be found guilty, and if it's not found guilty, you lose everything. You lose your house, you lose your salary, you probably owe your lawyer a lot of money because that's going to be a huge case that you're issuing, and you'll probably just deliver pizza after all. So the thing about that is that's a really sensitive subject, and if you ever try to decide to or see that something wrong is going on with your company, I strongly recommend you to comply with all the requirements of the SOX Act. And the last thing that we're going to do is a non-scientific experiment, and I would like you to choose a color between red, black, blue, yellow, and green. So red, black, blue, yellow, and green. So choose your color and let's talk. Thank you.